In Israel, protests by the ultra-Orthodox community against mandatory military service are part of a long-running conflict. Since the October 7th invasion, a new program is attempting to build a bridge with this traditional community to facilitate more participation in national service. Joshua Swanson shows us how it's working.
In central Israel, tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox demonstrators have flooded major intersections, blocking traffic and rallying against what they see as a threat to preserving their religious lifestyle. Against this backdrop, Yeshiva Mishmar HaTorah, founded by Rabbi David Label, is drawing attention for charting a different path.
This year, 250 new recruits entered this program. There's an agreement with the IDF so they can continue to study in the yeshiva and become soldiers at the same time. We're talking about hardcore Haredi young men.
In Israel, military service is required for most Jewish citizens over 18. The length is 32 months for men and 24 months for women, plus reserve duty. Arab citizens are generally exempt, and for decades that included ultra-Orthodox Jewish men if they are full-time religious students.
As you know, the issue of military service is at the center of public debate here in Israel. This issue is causing a major political crisis. In fact, the draft issue is related to the political instability we have seen over the last 5 years.
Rabbi Benayahu Tavila, who held senior roles in the Israel education system, says there are currently 30 students in the yeshiva, 10 of whom are already in active service.
For us, Torah study is a supreme value, but so is applying that study in real life. The Torah commands us, do not stand by the blood of your neighbor. It forbids us to ignore the distress of others.
Rabbi Label, an educator of over 5 decades of experience, explains that the program begins with 18 months of full-time yeshiva learning. The students then transition into a 2-year service track in the ultra-Orthodox Haredi division called Hativat Hahash Monaim.
An actual problem when it comes to recruiting Haredim is that when they're around secular soldiers, they tend to lose their identity as a Haredi. For that reason, you need to make sure that you have a tailor-made program for the Haredim.
Rabbi Label was heavily involved in setting up the 2 existing ultra-Orthodox IDF divisions. Israel Shiloh, the CEO of Achvat Torah, the parent organization of Yeshiva Mishmar HaTorah, says it's a small-scale startup attempting to create a tradition of bringing Torah and army together.
Before October 7th, some friends and I thought that the army did not need us and that it would be okay, that maybe it was meant to be for the Haredim to be in the yeshivas and the rest of the people would serve in the army. After the 7th of October, the understanding was that it was impossible to ignore the existence of the Haredi community in Israeli society and in the army. The question changed from what are we not doing to what are we going to do?
Hillel Navet, a student at Yeshiva Mishmar HaTorah, is part of a small but growing group of ultra-Orthodox men who say the war changed their perspective.
A young person who wants to go to the army and is a little afraid that he will decline in spirituality, this is the place for him. This is a place that really prepares him well, without having to be stressed about what will happen in the army.
Yedidia Green is also a student at the yeshiva, as well as a soldier.
I think there's a lot of misconception in general about what Haredim think about the army. Because people hear a lot of shouts of Namut v'lo nitgayes, which translates to we'd rather die than draft to the army. Those are extremists. I always had this dream to go to combat. I think it's a very satisfying and important thing that every man should do if he can. If you do it correctly and you're built for it mentally, it can build you in an unbelievable way.
Many leaders and rabbis oppose any changes, feeling military life threatens their religious life. Those like Hillel and Yedidia, however, are content knowing that they are able to maintain their religious practices within the army.
Me and the other guys in this yeshiva are taking, really, I would say, a big step towards Haredim in the army. And so it's definitely a big step, I would say, in the right direction, but it's definitely scary. Some of the Haredi world are looking at you with like squints. They're not sure what you're doing is correct, but I believe we're stepping in the right direction and doing what's right. It's needed.
Joshua Swanson, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Took some time before the IDF decided to have kosher meals. That may be a surprise to you, but they need to be strictly kosher so that the Orthodox could participate. It's a deep political division in Israel, and the government depends on an alliance that comes together in order to hold on to a majority in the Knesset. There are over 16 political parties in Israel. They seem to form and reform and dissolve. It's truly amazing how complicated it is. But this one singular issue, do the members of the Orthodox community, are they required to participate in military service? That is an issue right now that's really dividing the nation.